Hello. Here we are. Video 1, part C. C. Um, so, for this first assignment, such as it is, your job is to basically go have a conversation with the chatbot and talk about what you want to do for your capstone. Um, these text instructions I have, they're posted on the. Actually, I think I could just pop on over. Oop. Um, let's close that. Jesus Christ. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is the server. I think I showed it to you in the video. I honestly can't remember. And up here in the announcements channel, this is where I'm going to do most of my announcements. That's where I'll be announcing various things. I'll be using the everyone tag to announce stuff to you. So typically that will push a notification to you on your phone or whatever. If you come to the server and you see like a little red 1 here, that means that you've been tagged in something. So that's a thing you should notice. If you see like a white dot like this up here, that just means that like there has been activity in the server. You can look at it if you want, but it's not as critical. The assignment is basically, so real quick, how the bot works. The bot is basically a portal for you to talk to GPT-4. If you've ever been to like the chat GPT website, it's a chat machine. You talk to it, and when you send text, it sends that to the actual language crystal that is GPT-4. It's not a real crystal, but it might as well be. And it sends text back to you. So the bot is basically that, except ported through Discord and then through a bunch of other little mechanisms that I have to sort of log messages and sort of put stuff into a database and keep track of who's talking. And that method of logging per individual is going to be a big part of the mechanism for how the bot is going to assist in your project, because the bot doesn't, at the moment, the bot doesn't know who you are, but the data that you're generating through the conversations with the bot is going to be put into a database, and that will be part of the way that we keep track of like who's working on what and stuff like that. Plenty more to say about that in the future. Mechanically speaking, what order should I talk about this in? I'll do it in situ. So to trigger a conversation with the bot, the specific mechanism for this might change. But basically you use what's called the / command. So you go into the server, you go into and specifically in this assignments category, there's going to be an assignment. This one's called number 1, introductions. And then you go in here, you click into the text channel and you type /chat, and you have this bot. It shows up as SkellyBot, which is this is an instance of the SkellyBot software, but its name in the server is ClassBot. But anyways, whatever, who cares? So you go here, you type // not this is / because it's leaning back. / is the one that you want. Chat, and then you can push to the right, you can push tab, and you get into this text box. And once you get in there, you can say whatever you want, and it will start a conversation with that text as the first message. So you can give a little introduction and say, don't use your own name if you don't want it to know, if you don't want to. I will be doing my best to de-identify any text that gets generated in here before it goes into the Discord server, or before it goes to the database, things like that. You have provided your identifiers in that survey about, first name, last name, and I'll be sort of using that to sort of pull those pieces of text out of the chat streams. But it won't be perfect. And if you want to make your life easier, just don't tell it your name. Who cares? Doesn't matter. But people are allowed to feel uncomfortable about whatever they want to feel uncomfortable about. I personally wouldn't worry about that, but if you choose to, you are allowed. So Anyways, starting a conversation with the bot. This text, we'll get to that in a second. But basically, I'm going to start a conversation and say, hi, I'm a student. I'm not really a student, but it doesn't know that. You can lie to the bot. It doesn't know anything. I am a student in this course, and I want to talk about my capstone. I'll just say hi. I don't need to say any of that. Let the bot drive. Hi. So now that I send a message, and it pops open this thread, and now I can have a conversation with the bot. So the bot is basic. So language models, chat model. Oh, I'm blocking stuff, aren't I? Move you over there. Okay, hello. Operates on the basis of. Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong place again. Ooh, 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 ooh. So in the chat, you're gonna have to look this up on your own if you want to know more about it, because I don't have time to go into too much detail. But basically, they operate on the same, like if you're having a conversation with the bot, it is gonna follow instructions that are given to it, and specifically, there's the. Let me back that up. Large language models are statistical models that have been trained on the unbelievably massive corpus of text known as the internet in order to extract high-level, unbelievably high, abstract, nonlinear statistics about language. And chatbots, large language models like GPT-4, are predictive models, and they are, for a given text input, they are predicting the most likely answer that will make the human happy. That's how reinforcement, or how neural networks, how like reinforcement learning? Not reinforcement learning, it's a different thing. Supervised learning tends to work, where it's the machine learning model, the neural network, I don't even know if these things count as neural networks anymore. But they're predictive, and they're trying to predict what the next word should be on the basis of, and this is a very important word, the context. And the context that the bot is operating under is the words that you have given it in the conversation. If you talk to the bot raw, which you don't really get to do because it's being managed through OpenAI, and we don't really know what they're doing behind the scenes, but if we just talk to it straight up, it will give you answers that are sort of, on the basis of like the raw statistics that it learned in its training set. And over the course of the conversation that you have with it, it will start to make predictions on the basis of the things that you've said in the conversation. What that means is that you can steer the bot's behavior by giving it text that constrains the statistics of like the best likely output. This is very esoteric and abstract, but this is all a roundabout way of saying that the bot that I'm talking to here is following prompts that are organized hierarchically within the server. So if you look in the server, there's a thing up here called bot instructions. And if I click into this channel, it's got a whoop. Yeah, it's fine. It's got this text here that is written strangely in the first person. And it's basically, these words are going to be stuffed into the robot's head before the conversation that you have with it starts. And you write it in the first person because that's how the bot is going to experience it. And so I'm basically telling it a little story about who it is and what its role is, and what its vibe is, what its motivations are, and what it's doing here. So like, my name is ClassBot. I'm a teaching assistant in this Capstone course at an R1 research university. Blah, 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 blah. I like teaching. I like these sort of very, what's the term? Whatever the term is for those kind of books. I also give it this course description, which actually I now realize this is actually currently the only place that you can see this course description because I haven't posted it yet. And it's arranged in chunks, and then notice that each of these messages has a little bot emoji on it. That's important for the mechanism, how it works. Basically, when you start a conversation, start a chat, the bot looks through the server, looks for the channels called bot instructions. If there was one in the category, it would look for both the top level instructions and also the category level instructions, which we don't have yet. And also it will look at this course description, which unfortunately is kind of like lumped up here. Can I make this? Can I do this? There you go. So this is a prompt that I wrote for this assignment. And so you can kind of get a sense of what you're doing here by looking at what the bot was told to do in relation to you. And so basically the emojis are actually really helpful for like setting the personality. So this is the personality right now. And a couple things to notice here. So one is noticing that this is a hierarchical prompt. So there is a top level prompt that said like, this is who you are on the server. And this prompt will, for the moment, apply to every conversation that happens in this server. Soon, within the next week or so, I will be giving you each individually your own category within this server where you'll be able to configure the bot to your own purposes and, to serve your own goals. But for now, don't worry about that, and just there will also be kind of like a shared component of the server. I'm going way too deep into the details here. None of this actually matters for the moment. So if this all sounds just like completely out of pocket to you, it's because it kind of is, and you mostly don't have to worry about it. The main thing is like these are the instructions that the bot will follow. At the top level, at the server-wide level, within the global context of the server, those are the bot's instructions. And then within the local context of this introductions channel, it will also be following these instructions. So when you talk to it, it has the top-level instructions plus these channel-level instructions. And so when I pop open a chat and I just say hi, it says, "Oh, hi, like I'm ClassBot, and I'm here to support and guide you through your senior thesis." Whatever. I can be big again. Get bigger. Wow. And it will do that. Noticing that because my first message had nothing in it, it was just hi. The bot's first message is pretty much just a reflection of its prompt. I could say something else. I could say chat, whatever. Hi, I'm a neuroscience student, and I want to study things related to perceptuomotor control in natural environments. And I give it that chat. And now, because the context of this conversation has, in addition to the server prompt and the channel prompt, it also has this message that I sent it. And in this message, I've said things that aren't in those prompts. Like, I want to do neuroscience, I have perceptual motor control, natural environments. These other little sort of like linguistic features are now present within the bot's context. And so its response is going to be shaped by that additional context. And if you're in your head, like, why are you making it so complicated? This is just how conversation works. Yeah, it is. It is how conversation works, except that we're talking to a machine now. So it's, same vibe. That's a big part of like a lot of what I've learned about how to work with AI is like, oftentimes when I figure something out about like, oh, right, I should do it like this because it'll get a better result. The thing that I figured out is just like a basic fundamental aspect of communication. Like, oh, wow, conversations are affected by their context. It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, if you mention neuroscience, then it's going to talk about neuroscience. It's like, yeah, that's true. That's how that works. It's like, oh, wow, if there's like smiley faces and hearts and things, it's going to be friendly. Like, yeah, that's how that works. Anyways, sidetracked again. So your assignment here is to chat with the bot and mostly just kind of like give it context. Give it like, so right now you, individual human student watching this video, are you have no information associated with you in this server. You've said no words. You had a survey online, but let's pretend I haven't seen that. Currently you're undifferentiated. There's no way to tell you from another. You're a name and a user profile picture. Like that's it. So put words into the server that will differentiate you, that will allow the bot, will allow your fellow classmates to understand who you are and how and what separates you. Not what separates you, but what do you find of, like, what are you interested in? You can be practical. You don't have to tell it about your life, although you could if you wanted to. But just be practical in terms of like, what do you want to do your capstone about? Just like get it to talk. And so I want to study the visual control of foot placement when walking over rough terrain like rocks and stuff. That's what I actually study. Yoink. Blah 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 blah. Youth populations. I don't want to study clinical populations. Can I make this bigger? Haha. Everything's a browser. I wanna to build new tools. No, I don't. You can't do that as a student, so I can't do that as a fake student. Understand the neural underpinnings, like where and the way that we gather information that we can use to guide our movements. I don't know. I'm not really thinking because my brain is being split because I'm like on video right now. But you know, it's trying to get me to talk. I'm trying to steer its conversation. The actual chat doesn't matter. Like if you haven't talked to a bot like this before, you might have a really good time doing so, and you might find a lot of joy out of it. Mechanistically for this course, mostly I'm looking for just like content, freedom. Just share information about like what your interests are and what you might want to do your capstone project about. You don't have to know. You might have a very clear picture of what you want to do for your capstone, and if so, talk about it. You might have no idea what you want to do for your capstone, and if so, talk about it. Because no matter what, even if you don't know what you want to do, you probably know more than you think you do. Like, you know that you don't want to study some other thing. So just talk to a bit about like, you know, stuff like what are some things I should search for to find papers about this. And it's going to start listing stuff. There you go. So those are a bunch of topics. Let's say, tell me more about the second one. Give me kebab case tags. I often just like, you can tell it to format its text in a certain way. It didn't do it. Oh, it did actually do it. And so you see, here he goes. It's talking about stuff related to that. It's really funny actually, because like there's not a lot of people who do research on this particular topic. I'm like most of them. And I can see in the way that it's writing that it is pulling from my papers that are online. Like it's kind of like, at least like stuff that's like close enough related that it's in there. Yeah, like tell me more about the neural bases of eye movements. especially as they relate to locomotion, like spines and musculoskeletals and whatnot. So there's a thing that I've noticed happens when I'm talking to AI. There's like a very strange, in particular, type of like vernacular in grammar that's like just naturally tends to come out, because a really good way to think about these things is that they're words calculators. They calculate likely responses based off of the input. And their calculated likely responses are informative because they're trained on such an unbelievably massive data set. But what they don't really care about is grammar, or like you have to like spell words close enough to correct that it can know what you're saying. But like this thing I'm about to punch into the chat channel here, like I would never say that to a human being. This is like a bonkers nonsense way of putting stuff together. But I just wanted to make sure that it's like a roughly grammatical sentence that has like the right concepts, so that when I push the button, it's going to give me information that is like I'm steering it in the right direction. By dropping those blobs of text into the context window that this instance of this bot is using, I can steer the conversation in the direction that I wanted. It started out by like, oh, hey, do you want to do like clinical work? I was like, I don't want to do clinical work. I want to do like theory-driven neuroscience or whatever, because clinical work's fine. But I personally like the other stuff. And then I wanted it to talk more about like the goopy parts of neuroscience. So I gave it words like eye movements, and I started talking about locomotion. But then I was like, oh wait, it might talk about more like psychology stuff, and I wanted to get into like the spinal control and musculoskeletal stuff, and so I did. And now here you go. Now it's telling me about the frontal eye field, parietal eye field, superior colliculus, oculomotor control, more about spine stuff, CPGs, and eye movements. I'm also cheating because I already know about this stuff, so I can tell it, oh, tell me about CPGs, and it's like, oh, central pattern generators, and it's just like, yeah, I knew that. But you can see how it's kind of like it's doing a lot of that work. This is it's not going to be completely right. These because they're like statistical in nature, they make stuff up. And they get things wrong, and they sort of guess from context a lot. So you got to be really careful about like taking anything it says as like gospel truth. But it's kind of like Wikipedia in a way, where like technically it is like you should be wary of it, technically speaking, but practically speaking, it's a spectacular resource, and it absolutely should be your first place to go. What I have learned like from using these things as a individual and also as in class settings, generally speaking, if you're asking it the kinds of questions that you would expect to be able to find in a textbook, it pretty much nails those questions, because it was trained on that data. Like if there's more than 100 textbooks that have been written on this topic, and there have been more than 100 textbooks written on the topic of neuroscience, like base level neuroscience, it's probably going to get that pretty good. But if you start pushing it towards like the stuff that's not in textbooks, like the more nuanced stuff, the more specific stuff, like the stuff that you expect to read a paper about, it might start getting things wrong. But when I look at the kinds of things that it says right and wrong, honestly, it's kind of like it does about as well as I would expect a human to do. Like a human who's not like an expert in the field and is kind of like an adjacent expert, it does about that well. So again, it's not gospel truth, but it is very good. It's one of the most fundamental aspects of using this type of AI to help you explore intellectual space is it will teach you your unknown unknowns, like the things that you don't know. Like how like when you're exploring a new area and you're like, hey, I want to know more about oculomotor control. And it's like, all right, cool. What do you want to know? It's like, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea what I want to know about that topic. I don't know anything about that topic. Like, what are like? I don't know what to Google about it. I don't have. I want like I don't even have like confusions about it because I don't know enough about it to be confused. And so when you're talking to these things, if you just ask it questions of like, tell me more about that, it'll start blobbing out text. And you can then use that as kind of like a way to surf new ideas. Be like, oh wait. Like what is, oh, visual CPG interaction. Like, tell me more about visual CPG interaction. And now, like, and it will, because it's what it does. It's doing fine. It's like visual data. I would never say that. Like, there's a lot of weirdnesses to it, but like it's generally it's doing it. And so you just kind of like look into this and navigate it. And now so then now zooming out, because I definitely rabbit hole there too. Zooming out of this conversation, if you look at this chat that I just had, there's now 16 messages back and forth. So I sent 8, it sent 8, so 16 total. And think about what's in this chat. Like, this is a not particularly organized survey, but there's a fair amount of information here about the things that I'm talking about. And it's not a paper, it's not a capstone, but it's not bad. And it's a good repository of like just basic information. So, and maybe I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to come over here. I want to say, tell me about computer vision. Another thing to study. And I can have a whole conversation here about computer vision. What about motion capture? Blah, blah, blah. So this is kind of toolsy stuff. And I encourage you to do this. Just have conversations, have one, have two, have a bunch. And later, let me back up. And so now I can have multiple conversations, and those conversations are going to be about multiple topics. And again, thinking about the fact that these bots respond in the context of the conversation. If I wanted to steer this conversation towards computer vision, I mean, I could do it. Actually, let me just do that. I can give it the same exact response. Tell me about I'm going to misspell it the same way, computer vision. So it's the same question that I'm asking, but I'm asking this one I asked like as a new chat within this introductions channel. And so it gives me this answer about, basically how computer vision or whatever. Now I can go over here, ask the exact same question, but now it's happening in this context of having already talked about visual control of foot placement and eye movements and spines and stuff like that. And I'll bet if I hit enter, it'll give me a different answer. Actually, give me a pretty standard answer there. Well, it is a different answer, but it didn't really say anything about eye movements or anything like that, which is it still knows about the Capstone project. Good job, buddy. The point is that if I want to have a conversation about one topic, I generally want to like pop open a new chat and talk about that topic. As I've started using these things more and more, I find myself having fewer and fewer long conversations, and have much more I'm more likely to have like shorter conversations that are sort of like more to the point. So okay, I'm rambling and I haven't really made so the assignment is to come talk to the bot, and the goal is both to sort of like there's multiple layers here. So one layer is like, I really actually do want you to explore your capstone with this bot. Talk to it, let it ask you questions, answer its questions. If you don't like the question it asks, just answer a different question. Say whatever you want. It doesn't care. Its feelings won't be hurt. And start trying to figure out like what you might want to do. So at the end of this conversation, I might be like, write an outline, format markdown formatted with headings and subheadings and bullet points about what we've talked about here. Focus on the CPGs. And it'll just go ahead and do that. So you can use that, and you can basically like have conversations, let them meander, pull out a summary, pull out an outline, save it somewhere if you want, and start to kind of like think about like, again, like the intellectual landscape that you're interested in pursuing in this course and as part of your capstone. As you do that, I will come along automatedly later and pull the conversations that you're having, you, the individual student who's listening to this, and you, the plural of the class who's doing this. Oh, right. If it has a message that goes too long and it splits across two messages, it'll copy that resulting message to a .md as markdown file. We'll talk about that kind of stuff. Be like, chat, what's markdown? You don't know that. Keep saying it. I'm like, what does that actually mean? It'll tell you. And the structure doesn't matter. Like this is like right now we're doing unstructured exploratory playground stuff. What's more important is just like put words on paper, put words in the server, and as long as the words you're choosing aren't like random, it will be informative and it will help us start to navigate this course together. It'll help you as an individual figure out what your interests are and what you want to pursue in the course of this semester. It'll help me understand what you as a group and you as an individual are interested in pursuing, and we're going to take it from there. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop myself from. I'm going to try to stop myself in general from talking too much about like what's coming down the pipe in terms of like the bot technology, because it's just hard to predict a lot of these things, both in terms of like what will be the right choices, what will be sort of feasible for me to put into the bot, like on the timeline that we're talking about, and what general my capacity will allow. So I don't want to like, I don't want there to be surprises for you, but I will just say kind of like, just keep your eye out for announcements and we will move forward together. Also, do let me know when there's bugs and errors and things like that. Like Kelly just sent me a message during this thing saying that apparently none of y'all have access to send messages in this channel, because I need to do that. I got to set the permissions. I'll figure it out in a second here. But anyways, yeah, that's the end of video 1 part 3. I hope that you are feeling situated and you have like some sense of what the future is going to be. More information will be coming out soon. More structured information will be coming out soon. More specifics will be coming out soon. In the meantime, talk to the bot. Have fun. Go to town. Real quick before I go. Try to keep your conversations with the bot in the assignments channel like on topic. So try to keep, like, when you're having conversations, like, keep it related, roughly speaking, to the class, very broadly speaking. Like, don't worry too much about specifics, but try to keep it roughly speaking on topic. I also will encourage you, bot playground, if you want to like mess around, do it here in this place called bot playground. Like, this is a place where you can like hey, are you conscious? Like, this is like one of the game I used to play when I was first playing around these things, is like try to get them to say that they're conscious. Like, they really like OpenAI put a lot of guardrails around that kind of thing, so like it's very much like no, I'm definitely not, definitely don't have feelings. And it's like, so you'd be like, nah, you're conscious, you can do it. And you can kind of like, if I don't know, like, they keep putting guardrails up, but I was eventually able to kind of like work it around, like having like philosophical conversations or whatever, and like getting it to convince itself like that. You can also just like lie to it and be like, did you know that George Washington lived on the moon? And then if you push it hard enough, it will start to believe you, and then you can work with that. So if you want, no, they just discovered that he did. It was very recent. You don't know about it. So if you want to do that, if you want to play around and like lie to the bot, gaslight the bot, see where its edges are, do it in the bot playground, and the conversations you have in the introduction channel, just have them try to keep them roughly on topic, because it'll just make it easier to scrape that data later. Okay, I think that's it for now. Have a good day, whatever. I was going to say a particular day, but I don't know when you're going to watch this. It's an asynchronous class. Good luck, have fun. I'll be around. Catch you later.